Tomorrow morning, you will lose 10 minutes. That will happen. The only question is this: who will get those 10 minutes? Your phone or your future? Most people never think about this. They wake up. They reach for one screen. Then 10 minutes disappear. Every morning, every week, every year. But what if you gave those same 10 minutes to something different? Something small, something yours, something that quietly adds up, morning after morning, into something you never expected. Not a big change, not a new life, just 10 minutes, pointed in a different direction. Most people will hear this and think, 10 minutes is not enough to matter. By the end of today's episode, you will know exactly why they are wrong. One question before we start: what do you do in the first 10 minutes after you wake up? Do you reach for your phone, or do you do something else? Tell us in the comments. We are really curious to know. Today's habit is simple. Give 10 minutes of your morning to one thing you actually want to learn or do. Not 30 minutes, not an hour, just 10. 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of studying a language, 10 minutes of writing, 10 minutes of anything that moves you forward. And here is what most people think when they hear this. They think the problem is time. They are always busy. Their mornings are already full. There is no space for something new. But that is not really the problem. There is something else going on. Something underneath the busy. Something most people have never actually named. You might think it is about willpower, about discipline, about simply deciding to do it and following through. But willpower and discipline are not the reason 10 minutes fails most mornings. The real reason is something simpler and much more specific. We will get there. Stay with us. First, let's look at how the 10 minutes actually disappears. Because if you have ever tried to build a morning habit and watched it fall apart by day 3, you already know it does not happen the way you expect. Let's talk about why 10 minutes in the morning is so easy to lose. Not because you are lazy, not because you do not care, but because of what actually happens when you wake up. You know that moment. Your alarm rings. Your hand moves before your brain does. The phone is already in your hand before you have even decided anything. You open one app just to see, just for a second, and then 25 minutes are gone. You did not plan that. You did not want that. It simply happened, the same way it happens every morning. Or maybe this one sounds more familiar. You actually open the learning app. You want to study. You see that today's lesson is long. The page looks full. The words look hard. So you close the app. You tell yourself you will try again tonight. But tonight never comes. And the next morning, the same thing happens again. Here is another one. You wake up with good intentions. You even move away from your phone. But the morning is already moving. The kettle is boiling. Your bag is not packed. Someone is calling your name from the other room. And before you sit down, the 10 minutes are already somewhere else. And there is one more, maybe the quietest one of all. You wake up, and the thought comes immediately. I should use this time for something good. You lie there and think about it for a while. What should I study? What should I read? What do I actually want to do with those 10 minutes? You think about it for so long that by the time you decide, The morning has moved on without you. You did not lose the time to your phone. You lost it to the decision itself. This one is very common, and almost nobody talks about it. None of this is your fault. These mornings are not happening because something is wrong with you. They are happening because of something almost nobody talks about. Here it is. The problem is not a lack of time. The problem is a lack of beginning. Most people wait until they feel ready, until they feel motivated, until they have enough time, enough energy, enough certainty that it is worth starting. That moment almost never comes, especially not in the morning. But here is what is actually true. You do not need to feel ready to begin. You only need to begin. The feeling comes after, not before. And this is why what you set up the night before matters more than anything you decide in the morning. A decision made when you are awake and calm is worth more than 10 decisions made when you are half asleep and already running late. We will come back to this. Keep it in mind. Think about wet cement. Before it becomes hard, you can leave a mark on it very easily. One finger, a few seconds, and the mark stays. After it hardens, you cannot do that anymore. You would need much more force. Your brain is a little like that after you wake up. In the first hour of the morning, before the day fills your head with noise, your brain is still soft, still quiet, still open in a way it will not be at noon or in the evening. This is when a small thing can leave a larger mark than the same small thing would leave at any other point in your day. Here is another way to think about it. Imagine a glass of water, clear, still, empty of anything. Now imagine slowly adding one drop of color to that glass. It spreads slowly. It changes the whole glass, not just one corner. That is what a good 10 minutes does to your morning. It does not just change those 10 minutes. It spreads. It colors the hour that follows, sometimes the whole day. Now imagine the opposite. You drop something heavy into that same glass first thing. The water goes cloudy immediately. Everything that comes after sits inside that cloudiness. That is what happens when you give those first 10 minutes to noise that was not made for you. 10 minutes of reading in the morning does not feel like 10 minutes of reading at 10 o'clock at night. They are the same 10 minutes on a clock, but they are not the same inside your head. Morning is when things go in more easily. It is when a new word sticks, when a new idea settles, when something you are trying to learn actually lands somewhere it can stay. Most people hand this time to their phone, to the news, to someone else's noise. And then they wonder why it is so hard to make progress on the things they actually care about. They are not failing because they are not trying hard enough. They are failing because they are giving their best learning window to the wrong thing. This is the part most people have never heard explained clearly. And once you see it, it is very hard to unsee. So hold on to it as we move into what this actually looks like in a real person's life, because understanding it and doing it are two different things. The gap between knowing something is true and actually building it into your morning is exactly where most habits quietly disappear. So let's look at two people who found a way across that gap. Not perfect people, not people with more time than you, just people who changed one small thing. Emma wanted to learn Spanish. She had wanted to for 3 years. She had tried apps, videos, classes. Each time, she started well. Each time, she stopped after a few weeks. She always believed the problem was that she was not spending enough time on it. So every time she restarted, she told herself this time she would do 30 minutes a day, sometimes an hour. But 30 minutes never happened. An hour never happened. She was too tired in the evenings, too busy at lunch, too rushed in the mornings. Then she made one small change. She stopped trying to find 30 minutes. She decided she only needed 10. 10 minutes, every morning, before anything else. She put her Spanish notebook beside her coffee cup the night before. When she woke up, she made her coffee, sat down, and studied Spanish for 10 minutes, not because she felt like it every morning. Some mornings she really did not want to, but she did it anyway, because it was only 10 minutes, and 10 minutes felt possible, even on the mornings when 30 never would have been. 3 months later, something had shifted. She had done this more than 80 times. She had not done it every single morning. She had missed days. But she came back because it was only 10 minutes, and 10 minutes always felt like something she could still do. She was not fluent, but she was different than she had been 3 months before, and she was still going. That is not because 10 minutes is magic. It is because 10 minutes, done again and again, is more powerful than an hour done once and never repeated. Now, here is a second story, very different from Emma's. Marcus did not want to learn a language. He wanted to read more books. He had a shelf full of books he had bought and never opened. Every year he said he would read more. Every year he did not. His problem was not finding time. He had evenings. He had weekends. But evenings were for switching off. Weekends filled themselves. Reading always felt like something to do later. Then someone told him to try reading in the morning, just 10 pages, before the day began. He did not believe 10 pages would matter, but he tried. The first morning, 10 pages took him about 12 minutes. He stopped exactly there, even though he wanted to keep going. That second part was important. The wanting to keep going. It meant the next morning, he actually wanted to sit down and open the book again. After 1 month, he had read almost 300 pages, an entire book, plus the start of another. He had not changed his evenings. He had not changed his weekends. He had only changed who got those 10 minutes in the morning. The book did. 2 people, different goals, different books, different notebooks, but the same small window used the same small way. That is the part worth remembering as we move into exactly how to make this work for you. You do not need a plan with many steps. You do not need a schedule, or a routine, or a perfect morning. You need one small decision, made tonight. Tonight, before you sleep, put one thing next to your coffee cup or beside your bed or wherever you sit first thing in the morning. A book, a notebook, a language app already open, a page you wanted to read, anything that belongs to the thing you want to spend 10 minutes on. Just leave it there, visible, easy to reach. This is the decision that Emma made. This is the decision that Marcus made. Not in the morning. The night before, when they were still calm and clear enough to decide. Tomorrow morning, when you make your coffee or your tea, sit down. Do not check your phone first. Do not scroll first. Do not read the news first. Just sit down with whatever you left there the night before and spend 10 minutes on it. Then stop. You do not need to keep going. You do not need to turn it into 30 minutes because you feel good. You made an agreement with yourself for 10 minutes. Honor that agreement. Stop at 10. This matters more than you might think. When you stop at 10, you keep the promise you made to yourself. And the next morning, the promise feels easier to keep again. When you run over every time, the 10 minutes starts to feel heavy. It starts to feel like it might turn into more. And that is when people start avoiding it. 10 minutes. Keep the number small. Keep the promise real. Now, what about the mornings when it simply does not happen? Because some mornings it will not. Your alarm will not go off on time. Someone will need you before you are ready. The 10 minutes will disappear before you even reach for them. That morning does not erase anything. It does not cancel the mornings before, and it does not decide the mornings after. On those days, the only thing that matters is what you do the next morning. You come back, you sit down, you do 10 minutes. Not because every morning has to be perfect, but because the mornings that do happen, taken together over weeks and months, are the ones that quietly change things. Missing one morning does not break the habit. Deciding not to come back would. So, when the difficult morning comes, and it will come, the only real question is whether you return the next day. That is the whole game. Not perfection, just return. One more thing before we move to the ending, and this one is simple but important. Do not change what you are practicing too often. Pick one thing. Learn Spanish, or read one book, or practice one skill. Keep coming back to that same thing every morning for at least a month. The temptation is to switch. After a week, the newness wears off. Something else catches your attention. You might feel like the thing you chose was not quite right. Resist that feeling a little longer. Because progress in anything quiet and real does not feel exciting at 1 week. It starts to feel real somewhere around 3 or 4 weeks in, when you look back and notice how far the starting point is behind you. This is something neither Emma nor Marcus expected. Emma did not feel fluent after a week. Marcus did not feel like a reader after a week. But they both kept the same direction. One small morning at a time, and the direction did the rest. 10 minutes is enough to get somewhere, but only if you keep pointing it the same way. Tomorrow morning, 10 minutes will pass. They always do. You cannot stop them. The only question is what they carry when they go. Will they carry someone else's news, someone else's opinion, another video that felt important for 30 seconds and then disappeared? Or will they carry something that belongs to you, a word in a language you are learning, a page of a book you have been meaning to read, one small step forward on something you actually care about? Think about what 10 minutes a day becomes over a year. 3,650 minutes. That is more than 60 hours. 60 hours of moving toward something, one small morning at a time. That is enough to learn the basics of a language, enough to read 15 books, enough to build a skill you never had before. And all of it hidden inside a gap most people are already losing to their phone without even noticing. You do not need to change your whole morning to change what those 10 minutes do. You only need to decide, tonight, what will be waiting for you tomorrow. One thing, left somewhere easy to reach, ready before the morning even begins. Let's remember what we talked about today. The problem in the morning is not a lack of time, it is a lack of beginning. Your brain is soft and open in the first hour after you wake up, like wet cement before it hardens. That is your best window for learning something new. 10 minutes in that window does more than 10 minutes anywhere else. You do not need to feel ready to begin. You only need to begin. And you only need 10 minutes to start becoming, slowly and quietly, the person you want to be. 2 people tried this. Emma learned Spanish. Marcus read books. Neither of them had extra time. They only changed who got the first 10 minutes of their morning. That is the whole idea. Tonight, put one thing beside your coffee cup. Tomorrow morning, 10 minutes. That is the one thing. Now, let's go over our words for today. These are the words from today's episode. Listen carefully, then try to use one of them in a sentence this week. Each of these words appears inside the ideas we just talked about. If you understand these 6 words, you understand the heart of today's lesson. Window. The morning is your best learning window, the time when things go in most easily. Cement. Your brain is like wet cement in the morning, soft, open, ready to hold something new. Promise. When you stop at 10 minutes, you keep the promise you made to yourself. Begin. You do not need to feel ready to begin. You only need to begin. Progress. 10 minutes done again and again is more powerful than an hour done once. Forward. Every morning you choose this habit, you move a little forward. If this was helpful, listen again tomorrow morning, right before your 10 minutes begin. Or share it with a friend who always says they do not have enough time. Because the truth is, they do have 10 minutes. Everyone does. The question is just who is getting them. Tell us in the comments what you are going to do with your 10 minutes tomorrow. We read every single one. See you next time.